take this opportunity on behalf of all 30 of us at the Benefits Trust to welcome you to our Zoomcast series. Exciting times. We are, I think, hopefully close to the end of this pandemic, or they're going to relabel it from a pandemic to an endemic or a seasonal flu. But hopefully we are close to the end, and we can certainly see some light at the end of the tunnel. This Zoomcast series we started in 2021. What we wanted to create was a forum where we can take a deep dive, like just a very, very deep dive into, one particular subject. And the subject that we're going to talk about today is sales of employee benefits in 2022, and how it's changed, or has it changed? But we're going to take that deep dive. This Zoominar series is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being in a room where everybody gets smarter. It's as simple as that. And what that means, and we're going to use this medium of Zoom so we can have interaction. So how the Zoomcast works, for those of you who haven't been on one of these before, with us anyway, how the Zoomcast works is we're going to, or the presenter, in this case today, it's going to be myself. I'm going to talk for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to have a discussion. And a discussion means we're going to participate. Lots of us are going to participate in this discussion so we can all learn from each other. And then I'm going to come back and have another presentation for a few minutes, 10-15 minutes. And then again, we're going to continue on that discussion. So interaction is important. Jump in, put your hand up, whatever the circumstances are, and we'll do our best. But again, one of the things about the insurance industry is we all share information, and that's what we want to do today. So interaction is important. A couple of things coming soon on February the 8th at 10 a.m., which is next Tuesday. We've got Dave Wochuk from Claim Secure. He's going to be talking about formulary, or using formulary and formulary protect to protect your clients from drug costs, from extensive drug costs. So make sure you join us for that as well. Melanie LeBlanc from LifeWorks is going to be here, and she's going to be talking about EAP programs and why she thinks and we think it's the best value for your benefits dollar right now. That's going to be on February 15th at 10 o'clock. We're going to talk about improving your value proposition with effective communication skills. I've got some really neat tools that I'm going to be sharing with you at that point in time as well. That's on February 23rd at 10 o'clock. And then we've got a really exciting one on March 2nd at 10 a.m. as well. And that's Ben Moletta, and he's from a company called Core Online Marketing. And he's going to talk about why online marketing in 2022 is critical to maintain your benefits practice. So that's going to be an exciting conversation as well. And again, that's on March 2nd, pardon me. So make sure you check out our website, thebenefitstrust.com, go to the Advisor Resource Center, and you've got all these dates, and it's easy to sign up. And at the end of the presentation today, you're going to get a CE credit for participating, but we need your cameras on. Please put your cameras on. We'd love to see that. As well as that, you're going to get a very short survey on how we can do things better tomorrow than we did things today. So we want your feedback on how we can improve. As well as that, in that survey, there's going to be a section on subjects that you want to see covered in the future. As well as that, we're going to send you a copy of the slides that we have and a copy of the worksheets. We're going to share with you some worksheets that we've put together for the presentation today. So we're going to share those with you as well. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite subject. Without a doubt, we're going to talk about my favorite subject, and my favorite subject is sales. A little bit of background. I'm Robert Crowder Sr. I'm the founder and CEO president of the Benefits Trust. We started 28 years ago. I've been an insurance advisor for more than 30 plus years. And for that entire time, I have been in sales, as simple as that. I've been in sales, and I'm really happy. When I was putting this presentation together, I was looking back, and we started the Benefits Trust 28 years ago, and we've had positive sales every single year for those 28 years, positive growth, positive sales for those 28-year run, if you would. And one of the things that's interesting, and I was again looking back, and I'm thinking, I obviously I didn't count them, but I'm looking back over the last 28 years since I started the Benefits Trust, and I think I've had about 9,000, literally 9,000 meetings on asking people to buy. So I am a salesperson, without a doubt. I'm proud to be a salesperson. In my opinion, I think it's one of the most rewarding careers that somebody can have. And I just want you to know that I'm certainly not the best salesman out there. I'm not without a doubt. But there's lots of people in this room that are better at sales than I am. There's lots of people in this industry that are certainly better sales people than I am. But I'm just certainly glad that you're here. I'm really glad that you're here and joining us today. And again, it's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being in a room where everybody gets smarter. And that's what the philosophy is today. So sales, let's talk about sales. And the best definition of sales that I've ever heard was from a gentleman by the name of Dan Sullivan from the Strategic Coach. And I'm a disciple of the Strategic Coach and have been for many years. And Dan said, sales is engaging someone in a future result that is good for them. So when you think about that, sales is engaging someone in a future result that's good for them. And when you think about that, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing as employee benefit advisors. And when we're helping our end user clients, we're engaging them really in a sales result that is good for them, or a result that is good for them, I should say. So that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about sales, and that's what we're going to do. So let me just share a screen here and let's start. First of all, we want to talk about selling benefits in 2022. And again, creating a future result that is good for your clients. And that's what it's really about. It's that future result. And how do you get, you put that in their head about future results? Well, you've got to ask them, in my opinion, future-based questions. It's as simple as that. It's about asking clients about future-based questions. First of all, can everybody see the screen, the screen that I'm sharing? Just want to double check. Perfect. Thank you very much. So when we're talking about sales, I want to talk about really, at this point, 5 different key components. If you want to sell employee benefits, whether you're selling employee benefits or whether you're selling pencils or whether you're selling large pieces of industrial equipment or whether you're selling investments, it doesn't matter. I think there's a process that needs to be followed with respect to sales, and it's proven. It's proven. It's gone on for years. And I think one of the key things is you got to have goals. It's as simple as that. You've got to have goals. If you're going to sell something, I think it's important to have goals. And one of the goal setting techniques that I use, it's like saying, hey, I want to sell some more benefits this year. I want to sell some more pencils this year. I want to sell some more sailboats this year. You've got to have goals, and you've got to have very specific goals. You've got to have measurable goals. You've got to have attainable goals. You've got to have relevant goals, and you've got to have timely goals.
Rob, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, Drew.
Sorry to interrupt. Are we going to be getting a copy of this?
Yep. We're good.
Yeah. Okay,
everybody's going to get a copy of this. Slides and the worksheets. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So the goals have to be. They can't be abstract, right? I think that hey, I want to sell more than I sold last year. No. How many specific cases do you want to sell, for example, since we're talking about benefits? Are they is it measurable? Is it attainable? And I've been a big proponent over the last 30 years of having goals, of writing the goals down, of committing to those goals and sharing those goals. And I've got here with your board of advisors. And it's interesting because you can have these goals and you can have them in your mind, but I think they're more powerful when you write them down, you commit to them, and they're specific goals, they're measurable goals, they're attainable goals, they're relevant goals, and they're timely goals. And you share them with your board of advisors. Now, board of advisors, because a lot of us are just independent, board of advisors can mean different things to different people. It's as simple as that. But you can share these goals with your spouse. You can share these goals with somebody else in your world, if you would. You can share these goals with other advisors and set up a board of advisors. Because when you share them, they become real. They become very, very real. And people can ask you, how are you doing in relation to your goals? So I think it's important to set goals. I think it's important to write them down. I think it's important to commit to them. And I think it's important to share them with whoever it is that you want to share things with. This is, again, something that I've done for certainly 30 years, and it's proven to be successful. But when you think about it, I've got here a roadmap or a picture of a roadmap. If you go to a city that you've never been to, you're going to type in an address on your phone for your GPS, or if there's a GPS in your car, or if you're going on a vacation where, down a spot that you've never been to, you're going to be looking at maps. And if you don't, you're going to get lost. So by writing down goals and committing to these goals and sharing them, it's your roadmap. It's as simple as that. So look at it from your goals from a roadmap perspective. I think that's critical. The second component is target market. If you're selling employee benefits, I think it's important to have a target market. And target markets are a critical component, because your message is going to differ if you're talking to a 5 life group or if you're talking to a 5,000 life group. It doesn't matter what your target market is, but I think it's important for you to know what your target market is and stay within that target market. I think it's important to research the target market and be able to answer the question, why is this your target market? Why is this the target market that you want to work in? And you've got to be able to answer that question, because I think it's important to answer that question so you can clearly tell your prospects that are in that target market why they are in your target market. That will give them a sense of comfort. And the question that I have is, can you be an expert in that target market? And, in thinking about that is, can you be an expert in that target market? And it's not about being a product expert. It's not about being a product expert. Who here thinks they're product experts with respect to employee benefits? Well, you better all put up your hands, right? We're all product experts. But if you've got a target market, you can become a problem expert. There's a big difference between a product expert and a problem expert. Product experts, the internet have taken that away. Doesn't matter. Anybody can be a product expert easily on because of the internet. You can type in Google and you can become an expert in a matter of no time. Right? But what you can do is become a problem expert in a target market. You can identify what clients' problems are in that particular target market a lot easier if you become a problem expert in that target market. The other thing I say is, you want to spend, or at least where I've had success, is spending at least 80% of my time in that specific target market. It's as simple as that. Spend that time in your target market. Now, again, we're talking about sales here. We've only got an hour. We've got a bunch of slides to go through. So we're going through this really quick, but we can spend, hours on just target market alone. We can spend hours on setting goals. We can spend hours on what you're going to say. But today, especially today, and this is how things have changed in 2022, I think you got to be able to know what you're going to say, and you got to say it really, really quickly. You got to get your point across very quickly, especially in this digital age that we're living in. People have a very, very short attention span. It works great for people with ADHD like myself, because, you got to be able to say it real quick and you got to get your point across. But you got to be able to say, how can you help your prospect? How can you, what value can you add to your prospect? And how do you make it a qualifying statement? And how can you say this in 5 seconds? Simple as that. How can you say this in 5 seconds? One of the things that Dave Patcher says is, I'm you're a sailor that sells benefits.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I'm a sailor that helps small businesses with benefit plans and avoid getting sued by their employees.
There you go. You're showing how you can add value, but you can say it in 5 seconds. It rolls off your tongue. But it's interesting, because when you ask someone what they do for a living, right? And you're at a party or a barbecue or whatever it is, and they go, I'm the regional vice president of Western Canada selling, screwdrivers, left-handed screwdrivers. And you're going, I don't even know what that means. So you got to be able to say what it is that you do, make it, show how you can help your prospect, what value you can add, and how you can make it a qualifying statement, and how you can say it clearly in 5 seconds. So you got to know what you're going to say, right? And you've got to be able to do that concisely and consistently, ongoing.
Rob, can I jump in there for a
sec?
sec?
Of course, Dave.
Just give you a 10-second break of breathing to breathe. When you're trying to do that and get that down, if you're doing a lot of telemarketing, for example, using like phone burner, having that succinct message, whether it's in an email form or whether it's in a voicemail form, you kind of get it down so clean and quick that it really kind of takes it from just a one-off call and knowing where you're going to be, and you can make that into your sales and marketing plan really good. And that knowledge of what you want as a perfect target, where you're going to add, where you're going to help, and getting it down succinct it's just vital to making it work.
Absolutely. Dave, or everybody, a funny story on that is, it was take your kid to work day one day. And I can't remember what is that in grade 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever it was. And I remember, and I can't remember which son it was. I've got 3 sons. Rob, it might've been you. I don't remember, but it was, I remember we came home after that day, and I had a bunch of meetings set up, and my son's there, and he's got his little suit on, and we come home from the day of work, and my wife, Michelle, asks my son, whichever son it was, I don't remember, but, how was it today? And he goes, well, it was interesting, but geez, I got kind of bored because dad says the same thing all the time, because we had 4 meetings set up or 5 meetings set up because he says the same thing all the time. Anyways, the fourth component of selling benefits is have a sales plan. It's working the plan. It's having a plan. We talked about the roadmap a few moments ago, but it's about having a plan. And I think it's about having a plan. It's about breaking it down. And I like to say, break it down from big to small, right? Break it down from big to small. I want to sell 20 cases this year. All right. Well, how many is that? That's 20 cases a year. How many of that is, how many cases per quarter? How many cases per month? How many cases per day? Or what do I have to do per day to make that annual goal? All right. What do I have to do every quarter to make that annual goal? What do I have to do every month to make that annual goal? What do I have to do every day to make that annual goal? So it's breaking it down. And part of it is being honest with yourself. Did I do that today to help reach that goal? Did I do that this month to help reach that goal? Did I do that this quarter to help reach that goal? And I think it's important to schedule it. You schedule it in your daily activities. Everybody's got a calendar. Everybody's got a full calendar, or presumably a full calendar. But, you've got to schedule the time to prospect. You've got to schedule the time for sales, because you can always fill up your calendar with stuff that doesn't make sense, or stuff that doesn't earn money, or stuff that you say you're busy. Everybody says, oh, how are you doing, Dave? Oh, I'm busy. How you doing, Brody? Well, super busy. It's those types of things, but you've got to schedule your time to make sales, because you can schedule your time with stuff, or you can schedule your time with making sales. And you got to have a plan to help you with this. And I like to say it's report back to your board of advisors on a regular basis. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a daily basis. It can be on a monthly basis. It could be on a quarterly basis, or it can be on certainly an annual basis. For 30 years, I've been meeting with groups of people on a quarterly basis, and we share what we've done and we share where we're going. For 30 years, I've been doing this on a quarterly basis. So I think it's important to reflect on that, and it gets you accountable. It gets you accountable to yourself, and it's about being honest with yourself. And the fifth component is committing to the plan. Committing to the plan. Make it a meaningful plan. You got to commit to this plan, make it a meaningful plan. Be patient. This is a journey. This is a journey. And we're talking about that roadmap. And sometimes when you're driving from point A to point B, like for example, in September, I drove a car from downtown Toronto to Vancouver. And you got to be patient. It takes a while. A good plan takes a while. And sometimes there's bumps in the road, and sometimes there's construction, and sometimes there's detours, but you've got to be patient. But if you make it meaningful and you commit to that plan, you're going to be successful. And you've got to celebrate successes along the way. One of the things that if you weren't here at the very beginning, I was talking to Brody about Brody's from Regina, and I was talking about Pile of Bones breweries. Well, it was interesting because my friend and I were driving across the country, and we celebrated by getting to Regina by going to Pile of Bones breweries and spending a pile of money. And the next day was the longest day I think I've ever had in the car. But anyways, that's another story. But celebrating the successes along the way, whether it's a monthly success or a quarterly success, or hey, I just reached half of my goal. It's awesome. Let's have a party. Let's celebrate those successes. And as I mentioned, about the construction and bumps in the road, and maybe there's a protest and it's difficult to navigate through Ottawa right now, if that's part of your roadmap, you've got to evaluate and adjust and monitor and share. But I think it's committing to the sales plan that's the most critical thing of all. It's committing to that sales plan on an ongoing basis. You got to commit to it for a while. Right? You got to commit to it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you got to monitor these things and adjust them along the way. But the commitment, I think, is critical for success. Absolutely critical for success. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. We've talked really quickly about, setting goals. They've got to be smart goals. We've talked really quickly, about committing to these goals, having that roadmap. Who here, and this is where we get interactive for a few minutes, who here has some success stories they want to share with us? Anybody? How they've committed to goals and had successes with them? All right, I'm going to call on people if someone doesn't volunteer.
I'll
Sarah.
volunteer. I'll be tribute today.
I love it. Thanks, Sarah.
So mine feeds back to your comment on, becoming industry experts and niches. And that's something I stumbled upon very early in my career. I was the benefactor of, 20 accounts when I started at Stevenson and Hunt, and a few of them were in the not-for-profit space. And so I just found a natural affinity to those industries. And over time, you build those relationships to the point that they're making introductions without you even asking, because they're having conversations with their peers and they're finding out, oh, they're having challenges. I gave them your name. Why don't you call upon them? And then from there, I extended that into a couple of other different industry types as well. And when you speak their language, they notice, they pick up on it. So I had a conversation, I re-engaged with a former prospect of mine, and she mentioned that somebody followed in after I had left from another firm. And she said, they weren't you, and we could immediately pick up that they didn't even understand our industry. And it became transparent in 5 minutes. And so if you're able to, and I appreciate and agree with you, you can become an expert in any area with the internet, but I do think spending time with them, there are nuances to things that you can pick up that instantly build credibility. So I just want to back you up in that comment.
Sarah, thank you very much for sharing. You said something very powerful. You speak their language.
Yeah.
You speak their language. And I think that is one of the most important points that has been made today, without a doubt. More important than the points that I made. You speak their language. Their language is important. Our language isn't important. Their language is critical. You got to understand their problems. And when you have a target market, you become an expert in their problems. And Sarah's shared with us her success in that particular, in that particular area, and how easy it is to become an expert in their language, in their problems, in their nuances. And it separates you from the competition coming in and saying, hey, great, hey, let me see if I can save you 10% by doing a market survey, because that's really boring stuff, right? That's really boring stuff.
Rob, I've got a comment if you'd like to hear it.
Hey, Ross, love to. Thank you.
Well, about 40 years ago, I actually took a course called The Dynamics of Goal Setting.
Yep.
And it pretty much outlined the different points that you were bringing up. And one of the key things that I thought was beneficial was to identify the roadblocks that are holding you back from reaching your goals.
Yep.
And tracking all this stuff. And, depending on how big the goal is, you've got to go after it one piece at a time, one step at a time. And if you really want to, gain the highest level of success with setting goals, you have to track the whole process all the way through.
Yep, without a doubt. Can't agree more. So how have you done that, Ross? What have you done to instead of having this massive goal, I want to sell 25 cases or 50 cases, or it doesn't matter what your goal is, but what do you do to break that down to achieve those goals?
Well, like I said, I write it down, I put a completion date on it, and I keep making notes on it. Now, I'm not as formal with this as I was when I took that program, when I took that course. And it kind of blows my mind that I don't follow the exact process, because it really worked well.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Hey, it's successful, so let's stop doing it, right? We've all been guilty of that over the years, right? We've all certainly been guilty of that. So Ross, thank you very much for sharing, but it kind of reminds me of your smartphone, right? It's your smartphone. Many of you have, smartphone. I certainly do. And my iPhone here, it's awesome. I use what? 3% of the power of this phone, right? But it's the 3% that works for me. So it's what is it that works for you that helps you keep you motivated throughout the day. We are a unique breed of people. We are professional salespeople. We are a unique breed of people. We operate independently. We operate on our own. and we've got to get up in the morning and be motivated. We've got to get up in the morning and continue to push the ball up the hill, so to speak, right? And what is it that we do to do that? And for me, it's just been about setting those goals and sharing those goals and breaking those goals down and having that plan and working that plan. Joel, you've been around for a while. Joel Kadeski, you've been around for a little while. You've how many years have you been in the insurance business, Joel? Oh, you're muted.
43.
43 years. So you're just a rookie, right? But
just learning, still trying to figure this game out.
Yeah. And what have you done with goals over those 43 years?
Well, I'm sort of, I guess, as usual, I'm always on the other side and everybody's on the right side. I'm always on the left or vice versa. As I always say, just when you think you have the answer, I'm always going to change the question. I don't do goal setting. Never have.
Oh, okay.
No, my goal setting is very simple. Just hopefully do the right thing every day, which is my goal setting. Just make sure I do what you do, which is the same thing. And they come along. I never said, well, I guess the only goal setting I did was I do life insurance too. And I remember that my goal setting was when I started with Crown Life, they told me to do 100 apps a year and you'll never starve. So I always try to do 100 apps a year, not necessarily settling, but writing. Group insurance, I've never set a goal. How many? 20, 25. Once, my book gets bigger, it's, it's there and you just want to be consistent. So that's my goal. Just try to retain what I have and whatever comes along, get as many referrals, et cetera, et cetera. But I like the idea that you mentioned about being consistent about what your son said when he went out with you. I think that's the key to sales. I got into this LinkedIn game a little while ago about a year and a half ago, I really got into it, especially a year ago. And I posted about a week, 2 weeks ago, those of you that are on my LinkedIn might have read it, where I commented to somebody on LinkedIn that to me, I'm only going to post anything about sales and service, nothing else. So I can take snow tires, I can take the original wrestler chic, and I can relate it to sales and service, which I've done. The interesting thing is that I like what you said at the beginning about us with sales and the type of breed we are and what we do, because we are different than any other people. And sales and service to me go together. And I'm sure that's part of the deal. And I think that's part of the goal setting, is always make sure every day you service the heck out of every client. So maybe that's one of my goals. Just every day at the end of the day, I look back at what I did and say, did I service everybody today properly? And
yeah, and Joel, you say you don't have goals, but I think you do have goals, right? And you've just been doing this for 43 years, and you've got goals, and the goals are, to treat everybody well, and to write those 100. You've got goals. They're just, you've been doing it for so long. Simon, you've got your hand raised. How can we help? What can you share with us? Pardon me. What can you share?
You had some important comments that you made right at the beginning there. You said, ask future-based questions. Well, yep. Why do you do that? Because really what you want to do is if you probably all read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of those habits is start with the end in mind. And when you take that client to say, well, where do you want to go? And you create this vision and you help them with this direction, they feel you're on your side, you're on their side, you become relatable, you become attractive to them. Now, what happens with that, if you take that idea as advisors, it becomes, you have to start with your end in mind. What's your vision? Where are you going? Because if you don't know where you're going, it's like a ship leaving the harbor without a rudder. And really, what we need to know is get clarity on that. So one of the things that I do that may help you is that I create what we call a vivid vision. It's 3 years out. I go to December 31st, 2025 now, and say, well, I guess 2024 if you count this year, and say, it's December 31st, 2024. What have I accomplished? What's my life look like? As in all aspects of my life, my family life, my business life, and all the things that we're doing. And so then we take that information, we get that clarity. It's actually 3 pages long, my vivid vision. And then we do the reverse engineering on it. So,
Yep.
well, if that's where I want to be 3 years from now, this is what I want to be a year from now. This is where I want to be in the next quarter. This is what I want to be this month. This is what I got to do to this week. This is what I'm working on today. And I've gotten the practice of creating that clarity so that we're tracking it all the time. And so on a monthly basis, I know exactly how many, not just applications I'm going to write, how many meetings do I have to have? Because I'm not going to write an application on everybody I see. How many meetings do I have to have? How many phone calls do I have to get to go to those meetings? How many applications? What kind of revenue is that going to create? And so all of those different things. So I just want to share that with you.
Simon, thank you very much for sharing that. It's interesting, it's that you got to have that clarity on where you're going, and you got to have that clarity on where your client's going as well, because you can't help them unless you know where they're going. If you don't know where they're going, you can't help them. You be a product pusher. If you know where they're going, you can help them get there by effective benefit plan management. And knowing where you're going as an individual is critical as well as creating that vision and so on. And you know what? This is not set up. This has been not set up. Simon and I, you did not speak about this. I did not speak about this prior to this meeting, but this brings us to the point of our next opportunity where we want to share some things with you. So we talked really quickly about committing to the plan. Now we want to talk about, and I want to share this with you. This is a tool that I created and I've used, and I continually look back at it and make adjustments to it and make adjustments to it. And hey, Drew, I'll come back to you in just a moment's time.
No problem. No
Thanks.
problem.
But come back to and look at this on a fairly regular basis. And it's about clarifying your thinking. And I want to share this tool with you. And we'll send it to you when we send you the CE credits as well. And you can use it, you can not use it. Don't really care. It's entirely up to you. But it's about just really about how you can use this tool to clarify thinking on some certain things. So it's about knowing your target market. So we talk about a couple of things here, and it's about you writing down what your thoughts are and what is your, what are your business interests? What do you have in common? And I'm going to show you this completed in just a moment's time. So you'll sort of get a feel for it. What communities are you active in? What type of businesses do you want to work with? What type of businesses do you not want to work with? What are your geographic restrictions? What employee size do you want to work with? So this is about clarifying your thinking. And then what happens is you can use that clarification or that thinking to really help identify what your target market is. And then we move on to the next section of knowing what you're going to say. Who would you like to help? What do you want to help them with? How can you add value? When do you want to help them? So knowing what you're going to say is taking the information from that thinking page when you fill it out what do you do? It's be able to answer that question of, what it is that you do. And to Simon's point a few moments ago, how many meetings do you need to have to reach your goal? What's your 3-year revenue goal? What's your 1-year revenue goal? How many groups do you have to sell to meet your 1-year revenue goal? And I've got some examples here of for example, if your revenue goal is $75,000, and therefore you need, there's $150 per person revenue based on a 5% commission, based on $3,000 average spend in an employee benefit program. Great, you need to get 500 lives. And if your target market is 25 lives, therefore you need to sell 20 groups. It's simple math. It's breaking it down it's breaking it down so you know exactly what it is that you need to do. Then you go, well, the number of groups I need to sell is 20. How many meetings do I have? And so on. So I've completed this. And then you put all three together and it just really clarifies your thinking. So I've completed this. So let's spend a couple of minutes and go through this. And again, this is just to show you, this is a tool that's worked well for me over the years, but it's a tool that you can use as well if you choose to use it. But, what are your business interests? Well, my business interests are profit. My business interests are growth focused. My business interests are without a doubt active involvement, not passive. I've run into companies where the owner is not active in the company. They're very passive, and I like where the owners are active in the business without a doubt. What do you have in common? Well, I'm active in business. I've got 20 and now 30 employees. I very much the Benefits Trust. We certainly have a service-focused approach. 30 plus years experience now, right? What communities am I active in? Well, I'm active in the Chamber of Commerce in Huntsville, Ontario now. I'm active with Advocates. I'm active with KALU. I'm not as active as I once was with IFB. I'm active in CGIB. A little shout out to CGIB. It's the Canadian Group Insurance Brokers Association, started by the master, Dave Patriarch. If you're not a member of this, you should join it, cgib.ca. And Dave will give you a little bit of a commercial later. I'm involved with the Muskoka Ski Club. I'm involved with the St. Andrews College Parents Guild. I'm actually their auctioneer for their upcoming gala they're having. I'm involved in the Huntsville, Ontario Hospital Foundation, and I'm involved in Alpine, Ontario. So I'm involved in all these different types of groups, all right? What type of business do you want to work with? Well, I want to work with profitable, owner-active businesses. I want to work with growth-oriented businesses. I want to work with innovative people. I want to work with people that are passionate about what they do. I want to work with people that are focused, and I want to work with people that enjoy life. Have you ever found a business owner or a client or a prospect that, you know, just hates their life? I don't really want to work with them, because that's just shit. That's no fun. I want to work with people that enjoy life, right? As much as I enjoy life. What type of businesses do I not want to work with? Well, I don't want to work with public companies. You might want to work with public companies. This is about you, but I'm just showing you an example of what I've written down, right? I don't want to work with companies that have foreign ownership. They don't understand the Canadian marketplace, and I don't want to teach them necessarily. I don't want to spend time with businesses outside of Southern Ontario. I don't want to spend time with decision makers that don't value advice from professionals. I'm a professional. I don't want to work with a decision maker that's the smartest person in the room and doesn't value my advice. I don't want to work with people that have a short-term benefits outlook. I want to work with people that have a long-term outlook on their business, on their success, and on their future. I want to work in Southern and Central Ontario. Simple as that. I don't want to go to Kelowna to have a meeting. I don't want to go to Regina to have a meeting. I want to work with people in Southern and Central Ontario. That's changing a bit now that we have Zoom, but right now I still want to work in Southern and Central Ontario. And I want to work with employees or groups that have 1 to 100 employees. I think benefit decisions are made differently when you've got 1,000 employees, when you got 5,000 employees, when you got 15,000 employees, and so on. I want to work with that smaller end of the marketplace. So knowing my target market, when you put all that thinking together, my target market becomes easy. I want to work with profitable entrepreneurial businesses where the owners are active and focused on growth between 100 and 1 or between 1 and 100 employees, and they're located in Southern and Central Ontario. So when you go through that thinking exercise, your target market becomes pretty clear. You could have different target markets. As Joel mentioned, he sells insurance as well as group insurance. You can have different target markets for different solutions that you're providing. You can have a target market for living benefits. You can have a target market for investments. If you're into the investment world, you can have a target market for benefits and so on. But go through this thinking page if you want. It makes sense and it works. So you can be to clearly identify what your target market is. Then I like to go through this and saying, know what you're going to say. I think that's critical. Know what you're going to say. Well, who do you want to help? Who do you want to help? Well, you want to help successful, growth-oriented business owners. That's who I want to help. I want to help successful, growth-oriented business owners. What do I want to help them with? Well, I want to help them with customized benefit plan design. I want to help them with implementation, and I want to help them, and certainly, as Joel mentioned, ongoing service. I want to help them with ongoing service. Now, what value can I add? How can I add? How can you add value? Well, I have targeted plan design for their unique business. I can help them with conservative budgeting. I can help them with tax-effective solutions for the business owner. I can help them with providing clear understanding of the link between plan design and costs, right? When do I want to help them? Well, I want to help them today, tomorrow, and beyond, right? So this is about knowing what I'm going to say. So what is it? You put all that thinking together and you come up with a statement. And quite simply, our statement is we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. That's what I say. When I'm on a chairlift, when I'm on an airplane, when I'm on a 5-minute call with somebody, when I'm on a 10-minute call with somebody, when I'm at a cocktail party and I meet somebody for the first time and someone says, what do you do? I say, I sell insurance. And they go, fantastic. I'm going to go get another drink. I'll see you later. Right? They don't want to listen to you. I don't say that. When someone says, hey, Rob, nice to meet you. What do you do? And I go, we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. You know what the next question is? They go, cool. How do you do that? So you engage in conversation. So what is it that you're going to say? And again, this process just helps you clarify your thinking so you can say, I'm a sailor that helps people sell
I'm a
benefits.
sailor that helps interesting and successful small businesses to implement and maintain a fairly priced benefits plan without getting sued by their employees.
There you go. That's
a
what
long
Dave,
form.
that's what Dave does. What do? I help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else.
And just like Rob's, what's the first thing people say after I say I'm a sailor that helps blah, blah, blah?
How do you
What
do
do you mean?
that?
How do you do that? Or wait a minute, you're a sailor? Like, how's that got to do with employee benefits?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a great conversation, but learning how to sail and keeping people safe is what I do in both things, sailing and in benefits. It just gives you something to walk into.
Yeah, as opposed to I sell insurance. Have a great day. And then, back to Simon's comments earlier about breaking things down. How many meetings do you have to reach your goal? And I've just put some numbers in here. But a 3-year revenue goal of $300,000, right? So a 1-year revenue goal of $100,000. So if I can get $100,000 with a new business this year, and $100,000 next year, and $100,000 the year after that, I get $300,000 with a business. Awesome. I'm saying, using some math, an average spend is about $3,000. Average commission is about 5%. Each employee creates $150 of revenue. Simple as that. $150 a year of revenue. So if I need $100,000 of revenue at $150, I need 666 full-time employees. That's the new business I need to write. Average size group. Let's just say my average size group is 30 employees because that's where I want to work. 30 employees. We know some of them are going to have 25, some of them are going to have 35 or 40. It doesn't matter, but I need 666 full-time employees. Therefore, I need 22 groups to reach my $100,000 goal. Okay, 22 groups. So we're breaking it down from 100,000 to 22 groups. Okay, awesome. Now, 22 groups. Great, I need 22 groups. How many meetings do I have to have? If you've got a 20% closing ratio on your meetings, fantastic. You need to, whatever that number is. I'm not very good. I have a 10% closing ratio. I need to have 220 meetings. So all of a sudden we're big again. I need to have 220 meetings. Well, how many weeks a year do I want to work? Well, I want to work 40 weeks because I know there's some weeks in there that aren't as productive as others because it's Christmas time, it's Hanukkah, it's holidays, whatever it is. People don't really want to work the last week of August or the last week of July and the first week of August because, lots of people are on vacation. So I want to narrow it down to 40 weeks. So I have to have 220 meetings in 40 weeks. So that's an average of 6 per week, 5.5 per week. So I'm going to round it up to 6 per week. I need to have 6 meetings per week. Simple as that. 6 asking people to buy meetings. Well, I'm not very good at calling either. So I need to have, how many calls do I need to make 60 or 6 meetings per week? Well, I need to make 60 calls per week, right? And divided by 5, I need to make 12 calls per day. Simple as that. So what's my job? To get $300,000 of revenue in the next 3 years, I got to make 12 calls a day. I'm breaking it down from very large to very small, right? 12 calls a day. This is where it comes back to being honest with yourself. Did I make my 12 calls today? You're in your car on your way home, or you're on the stairs on your way from your office to your home, right? Depending on where everybody's working, right? But how many calls a day did I make today? Did I make my 12 calls, to reach my goals? So when I get back together with my group, my board of advisors, quote unquote, my board of advisors could be my wife. I can say, hey, honey, good news. I made my 12 calls today. We're on track. I got my 6 meetings. For me, it was really interesting because well, not really interesting. For me, it was interesting. Maybe it's not interesting for you, but when I started at Great West Life 30 plus years ago, those are the agency days and you'd have your agency meetings. And I remember I was very greener than Great West Life in those days, but I was very green. And I remember a lady standing up and she made a presentation, and she was fairly new in the business, probably about 3 years in the insurance business. And she was quite successful. I thought she was quite successful. And she got up and made a presentation to the agency, and she was quite nervous, but she said, I don't remember all the things she said, but one of the things she said is, I like to have 10 meetings a week. That's what I do. And if I can get my 10 meetings a week in before Friday, I take Fridays off. And it just really resonated with me. Just very simple. I need to have 10 meetings a week. How many calls do I have to make to get 10 meetings a week? And it's really interesting because now I look at my schedule and I have 10 meetings a week, but because of Zoom and because of COVID and so on, those 10 meetings a week are taking a lot less time because I'm not spending time driving to see Dave or driving to see Drew or driving to see ABC Inc. or XYZ Inc. So it's about 10 meetings a week, or it's whatever your goals are, breaking it down. Did I make my 12 calls a day? So when you put these three things together on this thinking sheet, all of a sudden it becomes really clear. How many, my target market is profitable entrepreneurial businesses where the owners are active and focused on growth between 1 and 100 full-time employees located in Southern and Central Ontario. What do? We help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they get anywhere else. And how many calls a day do I have to make to reach my financial goals? 12. Simple process. That's what I need to do. It's a simple process. Now, Drew, you had your hand up. Am I crazy? Am I nuts? What are your thoughts?
Well, you're off the charts, bang on every single point is the bottom line. And so I've been drinking that Kool-Aid for years. The point I was going to make earlier, and it was really just kind of an add-on, and that was that, and you'd know this, Rob, because I'm also a strategic coach disciple and EOS disciple, and his 3-year question, right?
Yeah.
Like, if this is 2024, what has to have happened in the past 3 years for you to be happy with your progress, blah, 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 right? So, yeah, I mean, all this stuff is, I couldn't be and it's very well presented, by the way, Rob. So
thank you.
Kudos to you. So, but yeah, all this stuff is, I mean, I could go on and on. We could have this conversation for days, right? So it's, and the reason why I'm here today is maybe like some, is that, everybody's human, and you can become a little bit complacent from time to time, especially when you're launching into a new year and it's in a pandemic and things have been a bit sideways just in terms of what your normal MO. And, just speaking for myself, it's not like, you're always looking to grab some tidbits of information at any meeting that you're in. But for me, it was like, I recognized that I need a bit of a kick in the ass. And also because I've got a sales team, I've got a team of people that we have business development meetings every Monday morning. And it's easy to see that others are also having some difficulty gaining some traction or getting back into the groove, so to speak. So,
well, thanks, Drew, for sharing it. You said a number of things there that are very interesting to me. And one of the things that really popped into my head was, has anybody been in a batting slump? Has anybody, as professional salespeople, it's like, oh my God, no one likes me. Everybody's saying no. Everybody's saying no. Before I started selling insurance, I sold beer for Molson breweries, right?
No one says no to beer.
No one says no. Dave, can I buy you a beer? Yeah. Dave, do you want to buy some insurance? No. It was a new thing to me. Everybody's saying no. Oh my God, right? And that happens over our career. It happens today. I've been doing this for 30 years. It happens. Holy shit, we're in a slump. I was in a slump just before Christmas. We had a bunch of business terminate on us for all sorts of different reasons because, they were bought, they were sold, they're out of business, whatever the circumstances were. But man, we were losing more than we're gaining. And then I, stopped and took a look and said, whoa, slow down. And let's evaluate, let's rejig or not rejig. Let's look at our goals. Where are we at? And so on. But meanwhile, our year was fantastic. We didn't lose more than we gained. We gained a lot more than we lost. You look back and you celebrate those successes along the way. And then I look back at my calendar. And this is the key thing. I look back at my calendar. I go, why am I in this slump? You know why I'm in this slump? I don't have enough meetings. I got to get busy making meetings. If you're frustrated, I'm willing to bet if you're frustrated and you're in a batting slump and you're down on yourself, it's because you don't have enough meetings. You don't have enough people to ask to buy. That's what causes frustration. Now back to, knowing what you're going to say, and, Dave shared with us what he says, and I've shared with you what I say with respect to, we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they get anywhere else. And then they go, awesome. How do you do that? Or what, tell me more about that. you know, and then Drew was talking about the future-based question. I always like to say we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they get anywhere else. And let me ask you a question, Drew. If we were meeting here 3 years from today on February the 3rd, 2025, 3 years from today, what has to have happened for you to say it's been the best 3 years of your life? You're going to lay out the roadmap, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to help you with this growth. I'm going to help you with where you're going. That's important to you. I want to help you with where you're going. We're not talking about doing a market survey to see if we can save them some money. They may not want to save money. They may want to actually spend more on their benefits. And then we're going to talk about that more when we talk about communication strategies. And that is on, I've got the date here soon. That is, whenever it is, I can't find it on my notes here. Oh, that is on February 23rd. You know, but adding value in communication strategies. Who says something unique when someone says, what do you do? Who wants to share that with us? Anybody? Before I call
we always say our sort of not tagline, I hate that term, but we'll call it that, for we change clients' insurance experience for the better.
Great.
And so I always start that by saying, you know, because I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. It's especially when you're in the insurance business, right? It's you made the point earlier where, well, you know, I'll just go and grab a cocktail somewhere else after you hear somebody's in the insurance, right? But you know, in part because of that stigma. So I always say I'm an outdoor sports junkie who also happens to change clients' insurance experience for the better. And so they're pivoting in one of two ways for us. They're either pivoting to, oh yeah, what sports? Like, what do you like to do? And then I rhyme off what I like to do. Or, so what do you mean by changing their insurance experience for the better? And that's an easy launch as well.
Yeah.
Because when I first got into the business, like many people, I'm sure, I begrudgingly and reluctantly got into the business. It was a family business. I was going, insurance, Jesus, can you think of anything worse? But here I am 30 years later, right? But it's what we always try to say to people is we want to come out of every interaction, every meeting with somebody, where the person's almost scratching their head saying, I almost forgot that had anything to do with insurance.
Yeah.
They're just good people, you know, we're just good people. We have a good interaction, we develop a good relationship, we get to know them better, we get to know what their pain points are. Oh, and by the way, at the end of the day, insurance will play a small part in filling that gap or in covering that risk. So it's so little about insurance, and that's what my dad drilled into me when I always used to say to him when I was younger, like, how can you even like insurance? And he'd always say basically what I just said, and that is,
it's not about insurance.
It's not about insurance. There's not, like, insurance is such a minute element of what we do. Focus on all the other stuff.
Yeah, focus on all the other stuff as well. James Clear.
Rob, could I?
Yeah, sorry, who was that?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, Brody.
This is just something that I've just started using within the last month or so, and so far it seems to work fairly well. But I'm certainly open to any sort of constructive criticism. I just say we help employers improve the lives of their employees.
Awesome.
And almost always the next question is, how do you do that? And then we explain, you know, it develops a pretty quick, pretty easy conversation. You know, especially if I know I'm talking with a business owner.
Yeah. You know what? Awesome. You visualize Brody sitting on an airplane, and he's sitting beside someone for the next 4 hours. And as you know, airplane seats are close.
Not many people are happy sitting beside me.
Yeah, and not many people are happy sitting beside me, because what you can't see is this big stomach of mine. But anyways, but you visualize sitting beside Brody, and all of a sudden he goes, what do you do? I sell insurance. And you're going, hey, awesome. I wonder what movie's on this flight, as you put your headphones on, right? What do you do? I help. What is it, Brody? What do we do?
We help employers improve the lives of their employees.
Oh, really, Brody? That's interesting. How do you do that?
Well, we help them. Yeah. We evaluate their benefits plan and help them improve where I can. Or
wrong answer. You know what? The right answer should be, we should meet at 10 o'clock on Thursday. Does that work? No, you know what I mean. Like it's engaged. Brody, I think it's excellent. You're engaging someone in a conversation. They're asking you questions, and then you're asking questions about their future and where they're going. And I think it's a great way. Anybody? Hold on a second. James Clear. James, where are you, James? Real quick, and then we'll come to you, Simon. You recommended Atomic Habits. What's that about?
There's the
Yeah, so my name is Kristen Ross, and I am recommending a book by James Clear.
Oh, pardon me. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. No, it's just recently come into my orbit, and it's a really powerful book, and it's just looking at similar to what we were talking about. You have to break it down into the various practice areas, but it really looks at connecting it to your own identity. So it's been a really powerful book as far as saying, okay, well, each decision you make is a vote for the kind of person you want to be going forward. Yeah. And that resonates into all areas of your life, not just your sales goals. So I thought I'd share that with the group.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Kristen. Sorry, I couldn't read it clearly here for my James Clear. But it's interesting because that's what that exercise that I just shared with you, and I'm going to send you those forms as well, but it's about you. It's about clarifying your thinking about what it is that you want to do and who you want to do it for, right? Simon, real quick.
Real quick, it's I think Drew and Brody hit it on the head there. It's not about insurance. It's about helping employers build a better relationship with their employees, about getting more value from them and all the things that we can do to improve them. It's not about insurance. I don't even talk about insurance. It's more about what they're doing and what their experience is and how we can add to it and help their employees become a lot more profitable for them.
Yeah, very, very true. And it's about their future, which is, profit is a future-based thing, right? It's how can we improve the profit, and it's about their future. It's 10:57. We're going to wrap things up in 3 minutes. I want to thank you very much for your time. Couple of reminders. Number one, folks, you're going to get a CE credit. You're going to get a real short survey. Please fill out the surveys. Let us know how we did. We want to improve tomorrow. So let us know how we did and how we can improve. We also want to think about future subjects. Pardon me. We want to think about future subjects that you want to see covered on these Zoom sessions. We got a couple more coming up. Check out the benefitstrust.com in the Advisor Resource Center, and you can sign up for those sessions. We got some great sessions. I'm really looking forward to the session on March 2nd with Ben Moletta. It's going to be awesome on online marketing. I think it's something that he'll have some great insights that he can certainly share. In addition to that as well, when you think about baseball coaches, when you think about hockey coaches, when you think about basketball coaches at the highest level, they're every once in a while coming back to the very basics with their team. They're practicing skating, they're practicing dribbling, they're practicing shooting, they're practicing passing. In the insurance business, we have to be cognizant of that. You've been doing it for 30 years or 20 years or two hours. It doesn't matter. You got to come back to the basics, and you got to look forward, and you got to say, where am I going? And that roadmap is your sales plan. That roadmap is your target market. That roadmap is knowing what you're going to say. That roadmap is all of the things that we discussed today. Some of you might be sitting here frustrated going, oh my God, this is so basic. But you know what? We got to come back to basics every once in a while and be cognizant of it. I think it's critical. The other thing is critical is writing these things down, right? Because you think about them, and we all think about these things, but it's writing them down. It's another power. It goes from here down your arm onto that pen, and you write these things down. And then if you write these things down, they become more powerful. And then if you share those things, they become even more powerful. And if you're honest with yourself and you have a board of advisors, and I'm using that board of advisors as a term, they can become even more and more powerful. And if anybody wants to reach out, I'm happy to be your board of advisors. We can have a 5-minute or 10-minute or 15-minute call once a quarter or once a week or once a month, whatever makes sense for you. And I'm going to ask you questions like, did you make your 12 calls today? Did you make your 12 calls? It's as simple as that, right? That's the only question I'm going to ask. Did you break these things down, and did you make your 12 calls? I sit there on Fridays and I'm going, did I have my 10 meetings? I always ask myself that question. Did I have my 10 meetings? If I'm in a slump, you know why? I don't have enough meetings. Frustrated advisors are frustrated because they don't have enough meetings. Break down your goals, have your target market, follow them, share them, and just do it. Great selling, everybody. It's 11 o'clock. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. On behalf of all of us, the Benefits Trust, we want to thank you for joining us.